What's up, everyone? This is Joshua from East West Healing. Today I want to talk about some great sources of B12. But before we jump in, as always, like this video, show us a little support. Hit that subscription button or notification button, wherever it is on the screen, to show us a little support. So every single Wednesday when we release a video, you are the first to get notified. Let's jump in. So, what are some great sources of B12? But let's go over a little bit of the nitty-gritty first. We know that we need B12 from our food sources to help us with thyroid hormone production, to help us with fertility and pregnancy, production of red blood cells, and more. But the problem is we end up with deficiencies, and as humans, with the lazy humans we are, we love to take the supplements to get the injections with a synthetic form, which doesn't do anything except raise our lab values. We think we're doing a good deed, but we're not. We're actually doing the allopathic approach, but in a more holistic way. If the philosophy doesn't work, the philosophy doesn't work no matter how you apply it. Now, how do we get a B12 deficiency? Well, first is chronic stress. Chronic stress is when the demands being placed on the organism exceed what the organism can handle. And the long story short is we live in a stressful environment, right? We come from stress, but the difference is, how do we adapt to it? How do we build resiliency around it to change how we're living, to change how we're eating, to change our experiences, to reshape our biology? But chronic stress will, in a simple sense, decrease the amount of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, as well as decrease mobility and motility in the gut, leading to SIBO and digestive issues and so forth, decreasing digestive enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, and so forth. But we need hydrochloric acid to absorb B12. Low hydrochloric acid, not enough B12. It's that simple. If you're on a vegan or vegetarian diet, which we know is super popular because eating animals is bad, and I get it, that's up to you. But the problem is, the only way you can absorb B12 or get B12 is from animal products. It's an animal-derived vitamin. And you need cobalt from food source, from nature, to actually produce B12. Cyanocobalamin that's in your B12 supplements or in your injections is the synthetic form, and it doesn't have the same effect on our system as cobalt from nature. And the problem is, in my opinion, creating more of a toxicity by taking these supplements and getting these injections. And yes, if you do your labs, your levels will go up. But here's the problem. You're doing the allopathic approach as mentioned. You're just trying to change the lab result without changing how you're living and eating. Nature provides us what we need. But the question is, are we going to utilize it? And the only way you can get B12 and cobalt in nature is from animal foods, animal flesh. Fortunately or unfortunately, right? Second is proton pumps inhibitors and other acid blocking supplements or medications will block the absorption of B12. So most people that are on these medications, they end up with severe mineral deficiencies, severe vitamin deficiencies, one of those being B12. Now here's the thing. As mentioned, we're all about food, and you can get enough B12 from your food sources. I just can't speak today. The problem is we're chronically stressed, but we're not changing how we're living. We're not changing how we're eating. We're not changing our experiences. We're just trying to buy expensive modalities and Oura rings and take supplements to create change, but we're not creating any change. So we don't get any change, right? So we have to live in a way to create that change so we can de-stress the system. Right? So we can absorb B12, and hence we have to eat the foods that contain the B12 so we can regulate our own systems, support methylation, the thyroid, fertility, development of red blood cells, and more, right? So what do we get? It's really simple. Beef and chicken liver. That's the first. It's a power food. You don't have to eat a ton of it. You don't have to be the liver king, but it's a great source of B12. Second is shellfish and fatty fish, salmon, tuna, and clams, right? Same thing. It's a superfood, loaded with minerals, fat-soluble vitamins, B12. You don't have to overdo it. If you get a variety, you're going to meet your body's needs. The next is dairy, of course, like different cheeses, and milk itself has B12 in it, and eggs. So as I mentioned, nature always provides us with what we need. The question is, are you going to utilize it? If we don't, you're going to see the deficiencies. And the bottom line is, those deficiencies lead you towards taking supplements and getting injections, but all you're doing is chasing your tail because you're trying to create a perfect lab, which is the allopathic approach. But you're not creating change, in a sense, what's causing the deficiency, right? So you're really not helping yourself by just raising that. Number one, you're not getting cobalt from nature or B12 from nature. You're getting the synthetic form. So you're creating more stress in the system, right? Because you have a problem here. But here's the difference. If we have those low blood values and we say, Who am I and what do I need? Am I not eating the food? Am I chronically stressed? Or is it all the above? And if I make those changes, what do we get? Cause and effect. The effect is those levels naturally go back up. It is that simple. We've seen it time and time again, and you can support your body, your physiology, your thyroid, your red blood cells, your cells. You can support pregnancy and fertility. And it really honestly is simple as that. I know it's obnoxious, but it's that simple. Food first, my friends. That is our message. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm out.